We begin today, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, the third Perek of Masechta Nazir. Zok, the Heilige Mishnah. Mi she'ama hareini Nazir. A person accepts upon himself to be a Nazir. So this Mishnah will discuss the conclusion of the Naziris. And this is actually a Mishnah that was quoted earlier in the Masechta on Daf Hey Amud Beis, and most of the Mishnah was explained there already. So let's see what the Mishnah says, and I'll explain at least a little of what we learned already before about this Mishnah. So this person is a Nazir, and he was a Stam Nazir, right? So what's this, a Stam Nazir? A Stam Nazir is 30 days. That's what we had before. So Megaleyach Yoim Shloishim Ve'echad. So he cuts his hair. Cut his hair doesn't just mean to cut his hair, but it means the whole conclusion of the Naziris, including all the Karbanis. So he does that on the 31st day. If he cut his hair and brought the Karbanis on the 30th day, Yotza. So then he's Yaitze. It's okay. Okay, so what's the pshat in this? Why l'chatchila should he wait to the 31st day, and why b'di'evad is it enough if it's done on the 30th day? So the Gemara before brought two opinions, Bar Pada, and the other one was Rav Masna. Very good, thank you. So the difference is Rav Masna says there's a concept called Miktsas Hayayim Kakulai, and therefore on the 30th day, because he kept his Naziris part of the day, he can bring the Karbanis for the next part of the day. But l'chatchila, Chachamim said, keep the full day. Don't rely on Miktsas Hayayim Kakulai, and bring the carbon on the next day, on the 31st day. That's Rav Masna's pshat. Bar Pada actually has a different pshat. Bar Pada says that really, Minatayra, the Naziris is only 29 days. He learns it out from the Pasuk that it's only 29 days. And therefore, really, the 30th day, Minatayra, which is the day following when you were done with your Naziris, is when you can bring your Karbanis. Elamai, Chachamim were geyser, because many times a person spells out 30 days, that you should wait and keep it full 30 days and bring the carbon on the 31st day. That's Bar Pada's pshat in this Mishnah. Okay, this difference between Rav Masna and Bar Pada plays out in the rest of the Mishnah here. Zok the Mishnah weiter. Hareini Nazir Shloishim Yayim. A person clearly said that he's going to be a Nazir for 30 days. So he didn't just say Stam Naziris, but he said 30 days. Why is he spelling out 30 days? Because he wants it to be full 30 days. So here, Im Gilach L'Yayim Shloishim Lo Yotza. If he cuts his hair and brings the Karbanis on the 30th day, he's not Yaitze, because why did he add 30 days? He wants it to be full 30 days, so you have to wait until the following day to do all the things for the conclusion of the Naziris. Is a person accepted upon himself twice to be a Nazir, and then so that's Stam Naziris, and each one is 30 days. So the conclusion of the first Naziris, he should bring it on the 31st day. And then on that 31st day itself, so over here, you're concluding your first Naziris, but then you also on that very same day start your second Naziris. And over here, we apply the idea of Miktsas Hayayim Kakulai, and here everybody agrees that when you begin a Naziris, you don't have to begin a Naziris at the beginning of the day, you can begin a Naziris in the middle of the day. So your second Naziris begins on the 31st day. Ve'es Hashniya. So then your second Naziris, l'chatchila, when should you bring the Karbanis for the conclusion of this? Yom Shishim V'echad, on the 61st day, because the last day, the 30th day, will be on the 60th day, and then the 61st day you bring your Karbanis. Now, like we said before in the first case of the Mishnah, V'im Gilach Hasarashayna Yom Shloishim. If he cut his hair and brought the Karbanis on the 30th day, so that will be accepted by the Eved. So then you start your Naziris, your second Naziris, also a day earlier, in the middle of that day. So now, when will be the 31st day of your second Naziris? Megalech Asashniya Yom Shishim. If you began your second Naziris on the 30th day, so then you're going to conclude your 30th day is going to be on the 59th day, and then the 31st day will be on the 60th day. Ve'im Gilach Yom Shishim Chaser Echad Yatza. But if you're going to bring your Karbanis on the 59th day, which is the actual 30th day itself, if you began your Naziris on the 30th day of the first Naziris, then your 30th day is going to be on the 59th day, so then you'll be Yaitza. Again, the same idea as the first case of the Mishnah. The only chiddush that there is in this case is regarding the beginning of the Naziris, that you could begin your Naziris in the middle of the day, and we say Miktsas Hayayim Kakulai for that, even though you're continuing from a previous Naziris. That's the chiddush here. And the Gemara brings the source of this, the Mishnah brings the source of this. V'zu Eidos Heyed Rabbi Papayas. Rabbi Papayas brought the testimony about this halacha. Al Misha Naza Shtei Naziris, person that accepted upon himself two Naziris. She'im Gilach Hasarishayna Yom Shloishim, that if you cut your hair for the first Naziris on the 30th day, so then Megalech Asashniya L'Yom Shishim. So because you began your Naziris on that very day itself, so now the 30th day will be on the 59th day, so you cut your hair on the 60th day. Ve'im Gilach L'Yom Shishim Chaser Echad Yatsa. And if you cut your hair on the 59th day, which is the actual day, the 30th day that you're concluding your Naziris, you're going to be Yaitse B'Di'evet. Sheyayim Shal Shloishim Eilaloi Min HaMinyan. The 30th day itself is part of the minyan, it's part of the count of your Naziris, and on that day itself you could conclude your Naziris. Okay, just to mention again, Bar Pada has a different understanding regarding the conclusion of the Naziris. Rav Masna's understanding is that it's all based on the idea of Miktas Hayom Kekulai. Bar Pada's opinion is that really, Minat Teire, Naziris ends on the 29th day. So the whole 30th day is just Gzeira Midrabanan. Sagt the Mishnah weiter, Misha Amar Hareini Nazir. Person says he's a Nazir. Now the continuation of the Mishnah discusses what happens if a person became Tomei in middle of his Naziris. So the Tumah in middle of a Naziris will nullify your entire Naziris. You have to count your whole Naziris over again. So now Nitma Yom Shloishim, if he became Tomei on the last day, on the 30th day, Seiser Esakel, this will nullify his entire Naziris. Right? So now even though we said Miktas Hayom Kekulai, so if it's already on the 30th day and he kept Naziris part of the 30th day, why should it nullify his entire Naziris? He already kept his full Naziris. So the Tanakama holds that even though we say Miktas Hayom Kekulai, but that does not take effect if you did not bring your Karbanis yet, if you did not conclude your Naziris yet. Right? So therefore you have to do a Maisi, you have to bring your Karbanis to conclude your Naziris. And if you didn't, it'll nullify your whole Naziris. This is the Pshat according to Rav Masna. Rabbi Eliezer says, Ein Seiser Elo Shiva. He says, no, we do apply the idea of Miktas Hayom Kekulai, since on the 30th day you kept part of the day of the Naziris and then you became Tameh, does not nullify the whole Naziris. But now that you're Tameh, you can't bring your Karbanis. So when it says here Seiser does not mean that it nullifies your previous Naziris. Seiser just means that you're going to have to wait. You'll have to wait 7 days to become tired and then bring your Karbanis. Hareini knows the Shloishim Yain, but now it's similar to what it said in the beginning of the Mishnah. If the person specified and said, I want to be a Nazir for 30 days, why did he say 30 days? Because he wants it to be 30 full days. So then, Nitma Yom Shloishim, he became Tameh on the 30th day, Seiser Esakal. It nullifies his entire Naziris, he's definitely still in the middle of his Naziris. Another case, what's if the person said, Hareini Nazir Meye Yain, I'm going to be a Nazir for 100 days. Now Nitma Yoimeya, he became Tameh on the last day of his Naziris. Huh? Did I? No, I'm not. Okay. Nitma Yoimeya, if he became Tameh on the 100th day, Seiser Esakel. So he's still in the middle of his Naziris. It's the 100th day. So therefore it nullifies his entire Naziris. Rabbi Eliezer says, Ein Seiser Elo Shloishim. It only nullifies the Naziris to the extent that he's going to have to count only 30 days. He's not going to have to recount the entire Naziris from the beginning again. Reason for this is the Gemara already brought a pasuk earlier in the Masechta to explain Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. He learns out from a pasuk where it says Yom Malois, that when you become Tameh on the very last day of your Naziris, when you already kept your whole Naziris and it's the last day, so then you only have to keep 30 days, which is the minimum of Naziris, but you're not going to have to re-keep your entire Naziris again. He learns it from a pasuk.
Why is he doing them before only Shiva?
Over there, Taka, it's not Seiser. Over there, because it's a Stam Naziris. Over there, it was a Stam Naziris, and Stam Naziris really, so you mix a Sayem Kekuloi, so therefore it ended already as Naziris. So therefore, over there, it's
over here, why is not mixed
on the 100th day. Why don't I apply Miktas Hayom Kekulai on the 100th day? Okay, according to Rav Masna, if the person spelled out clearly 100 days, so then he wants it to be 100 full days. I think that's the pshat. He wants it to be 100 full days. Or maybe it's only Midrabanan, but I think it's Minat Taira. If he spelled out 100 days, he wants it to be 100 full days. So therefore over here, if he becomes Tameh, so according to the Tanakama, he has to recount the entire Nazirus. But according to Rabbi Eliezer, there's Gzeirus HaKosov, that if it's on the very last day of your Nazirus, so then you only have to keep another 30 days. Now, Nitma Yom Meya Ve'echad, he became Tameh on the following day, on the 101st day, but before he brought his Karbanis for his Nazirus. But so, right, you're supposed to bring the Karbanis of the Naziris the following day after the last day of your Naziris. So he became Tameh before the Karbanis were brought. So Seiser Shloishim Yom. He has to now be Seiser, he has to nullify, he has to recount 30 days. Meaning, even though really this is the day after his Naziris, and he should not have to Menatayra, there should be no reason for him to have to recount anything. But this is Exedim D'Rabbanan. Because on the previous day, if he becomes Tomei on that day, it is Seiser his entire Naziris. So the next day, before he brought his Karbanis, if you're going to tell the person that he does not have to keep any more of his Naziris because of the Tumah, he may confuse the 100th day with the 101st day. So therefore, Chacham will geyser that on the 101st day, before you bring your Karbanis, if you became Tameh, that you're going to have to be, you have to be Seisa, you have to keep another 30 days. This really, if Chacham would have compared this to the previous day, he would have to keep another 100 days. He would have to redo the entire Naziris. But they won't machmir to that extent. They just said that the Gzeira is that you keep 30 days if you became Tamei on the 101st day before you brought your Karbanis. Rabbi Eliezer says, and Seiser Elo Shiva, that you only have to be Seiser 7 days. The Chacham were not geyser this. Even on the previous day, if you became Tamei before you brought your Karbanis, you became Tamei on the 100th day, it's not Seiser your entire Naziris. Right, it's because it's already the last day. On the last day, it's not Saisi Yehol Naziris according to Rabbi Eliezer. So therefore, according to Rabbi Eliezer, on the following day, on the 101st day, if you became Tamei before you brought your Karbanis, there is no Gzeir of Chazal about this. Okay. Gemara Misha Amad, the Mishnah began with the case of a person that said that any Nazir v'nitma yom shloishim, and he became Tamei on the 30th day, Seiser esakail. So this is Seiser, his entire Naziris. And Rabbi Eliezer said, "Ein Seiser ela shiva," that it's only Seiser. Oh, so this is going to the case. This is not the first case of the Mishnah. This is the case of Tumah. When a person becomes Tamei, so Rabbi Eliezer says that if it's on the last day, so because we say Miktzas Hayom Kekuloi, at least that's the pshat according to Rav Masna. We say Miktzas Hayom Kekuloi, or according to Bar Pada, the reason is because on the 30th day it's really Minatayra, not part of his Naziris anymore, because Naziris is only 29 days. So we're only Seiser that he's going to have to wait 7 days to bring his Karbanis, but he doesn't have to redo his Naziris at all. Kasav, Rabbi Eliezer's opinion is, Kol Achar Malois, that if the person becomes Tamei after he already kept his entire Nazirus, so then Shiva Seiser. So only 7 days does he have to wait to bring his Karbanis. Again, either the reason is because of Miktzas Hayom Kekulai, or the reason is because really the Nazirus is only 29 days. But if a person says, Areni Nazir Shloishim Yom, he spelled out that it'll be a Nazir for 30 days, V'nitma Yom Shloishim, and then he became Tamei on the 30th day, then Seiser Esakayel. Everybody agrees that on the 30th day, he's going to have to redo the entire Naziris. So why does Rabbi Eliezer not argue here? Loipolig Rabbi Eliezer. Here, in this case, where he spelled out 30 days, is no machlekes about this. The Amar Shleimin, because over here, when the person says 30 days, so somebody Shainim say what the Gemara means to say is, he said 30 full days, the person himself spelled it out. But Taisus over here says, even if he doesn't spell it out, even if he just says 30 days, that's what it means. It means 30 full days, because there's no reason for the person to specify 30 days. When you say at any nazar, automatically it means 30 days. If he said 30 days, what is he adding? That it should be 30 full days, and therefore there's no Miktzas Hayom Kekuloi. Or it's not 29 days according to Bar Pada. It's 30 full days, and therefore if you become Tamei till the last moment, it's going to nullify your entire Naziris. Now the next case of the Mishnah was, Hareni Nazir Mei Yom V'nitma Yom Meya Seisa Sakail. Rabbi Eliezer Oime Ein Seisa El Shloishim. It's only Seisa that you have to recount 30 days. Yet the Gemara does not specify and explain and go through the pshat on this, or the pshat of really most of this Mishnah. The Gemara just says, V'kula, the pshat on this entire Mishnah, Kitahavinon Ba, as the discussion we had before on Daf Hey and Daf Vav, Alibe de Bar Pada v'Rav Masna. The two opinions of Bar Pada, again, Bar Pada's opinion is that Stam Naziris is really 29 days. The 30th day, when it says that Stam Naziris is 30 days, it means that the 30th day is when you already bring your Karbanis to conclude it. That's Minat Taira. With the Rabbana, they said, wait to the 31st day. And Rav Masna's opinion is, no, Stam Naziris is 30 days. Elamai, on the 30th day, we could say, Miktzas Hayom Kekuloi, but L'chatchila, you should wait to the following day, to the 31st day, to bring the Karbanis. That's the two opinions, which is the basis of the understanding of this Mishnah.
Miktzas Hayom Kekuloi is the night, or it has to be the day, a part of the day?
The day, I think. I think it means a day. Person is accepting upon himself Naziris, but v'hu beveis hakvaris. He's standing in a beis hakvaris. He's in a place where he is with Tuma while he's accepting the Naziris. So even if he was there for 30 days, which is the length of day of how long his Naziris would last, so these 30 days does not count for the number of the days that he needs to keep for his Naziris, because he's in a place of Tuma. And also, mevi carbon tuma. When this person leaves the Beis HaKvaris and he's metired himself, so now you're not going to say that he has to bring a carbon tuma, usually a person that's a Nazir, and becomes Tameh, so it nullifies your Naziris. You have to bring a special carbon for the fact that you became Tameh and start your Naziris over again. So this individual that was Tameh from the beginning of his Naziris, when he leaves the Beis HaKvaris, he's not going to have to bring that carbon of tuma that a Nazir has to bring. Now, Yotza, when this person leaves the Beis HaKvaris, and then he becomes Tahir, it's going to take 7 days until this person becomes Tahir. You have to sprinkle the water upon him from the Paraduma, and then after 7 days he becomes Tahir. V'nichnas, and he goes back in the very day itself that he became Tahir. He went right back into the Beis HaKvaris. So, because he was already tired on this day, so he began counting a proper Naziris of Tara, and he went back into the Beis HaKvaris, who may be carbon Tomeh. So therefore he is going to have to bring a carbon for the fact that he became Tomeh. Right? So even if he was tired for just 1 minute, and he went back in, now he has to bring a carbon for the Tomeh, that he made himself Tomeh in his proper Naziris of Tara. Rabbi Eliezer says, Loi boy bayayim. If on that very same day, on that first day that he became tired, he went back in and became Tameh, for that he won't have to bring a carbon. Why? Shenemar, because in the Pasuk, when it speaks about a Nazir that becomes Tameh and it nullifies his Naziris and he has to bring Karbanas, what does the Pasuk say? V'hayamim arishaynim yiplu, that the previous days that you kept for your Naziris will fall away. You have to keep it over again. Now it uses a plural term, v'hayamim harishaynim, which means at sheyiyuloi yamim rishaynim. This only applies if you have at least more than 1 day that you kept of your Naziris. So if this person, it was his first day of his Naziris that he became tired and he went right back into the Beis HaKvaris, he doesn't have 2 days that he's going to have to nullify and keep again. So therefore only if he waits till the next day and then he makes himself Tameh, then he's going to have to bring a carbon for becoming Tameh as a Nazir. Okay, so this mission over here, speaking about this Nazir accepting the Naziris while he's Tameh in the Beis HaKvaris, right? So the Mishnah says that the numbers of the days that he's counting there does not count for the proper Naziris. And the Mishnah also says that he doesn't have to bring a carbon Tumah when he leaves. But it's not clear in the Mishnah itself, does he become a Nazir? When he accepted this Naziris while he was in the Beis HaKvaris, does that Naziris even take effect at all? So the Gemara here brings a machlekes between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish about this. Itmer, we learned the following machlekes: Misha Nazar v'hu beveis hakvaris. Person accepts upon himself Naziris and he's standing in the Beis HaKvaris. So Rabbi Yochanan says Naziros chala olav. The Naziros does take effect upon him, which means he can't drink wine, he can't cut his hair, and he also has to get out of the Beis HaKvaris as soon as possible because he's not allowed to become Tameh either. Reish Lakish says, Naziris chal olav. The Naziris did not take effect upon him because part of the Naziris is not to become Tameh, and he is in a place of Tumah, so it can't take effect on him at all. Right? So therefore he can't drink, he could drink wine, that is, he could still cut his hair. But though the Rishonim here say, Reish Lakish will agree that he has to get out of the Beis HaKvaris as soon as possible, because when a person accepts upon himself a neder of Naziris, you have an obligation to fulfill your Naziris as soon as possible. So he should get out of the Beis HaKvaris as soon as possible to fulfill his neder that he just took upon himself. But until he gets out of the Beis HaKvaris, the Naziris did not yet take effect at all. So the Gemara explains now the machlokes here. Rabbi Yochanan Naziris chala olav. Rabbi Yochanan says that the Naziris takes effect upon him even though he's in the Beis HaKvaris and he can't even keep his Naziris here. So Sava Rabbi Yochanan holds mitle talya v'kaima. This Naziris that he just accepted upon himself is sort of suspended. It's like hanging in the air and it's waiting to take effect on him fully. And kiven the mashke chatara, the moment that the person is found in a condition where he is tahir, it takes full effect. Meaning, really, when he's in the Beis HaKvaros, the Naziris is there. Regarding not drinking wine and not cutting his hair, the Naziris took effect. Now, the full Naziris, which means the Naziris that he has to be tired, cannot take effect yet because he's tired. So that's sort of suspended. And the moment that he leaves, it takes fully effect. But really, he's a Nazir right away.
So if he stays there a week, he has to be another 37 days.
Yeah, exactly. Rish Lakish says, "Ei Naziris chala olav." The Naziris cannot and does not take effect on him at all, and therefore, I hadar va'amar chayla alei. When he comes out of the Beis HaKvaros, so he says again, "I'm going to be a Nazir. I'm accepting upon myself this Naziris." Then it takes effect on him. V'iloi. If he does not say this when he leaves the Beis HaKvaros, it does not take effect. So, from the simple words of the Gemara, it sounds like the Gemara is saying that what he said before is completely dvarim b'telim, because he was inside the Beis HaKvaros, worthless, and he has to re-accept the Naziris completely from new when he comes out of the Beis HaKvaros. But the Rishonim say that the pshat in the Gemara is that what he said while he was in the Beis HaKvaros is not mamish dvarim b'telim. When he comes out, when the Gemara here says that hada amma chayla, it doesn't mean he mamish has to accept upon himself the Naziris again. He just has to say, okay, now I'm starting that Naziris from before. He just has to say it that he's going to start his Naziris, and his Naziris starts from now, from after he comes out of the Beis HaKvaros. But really, he's keeping his Naziris because he made that neder when he was in the Beis HaKvaros. The neder was a neder, to be a Nazir. So therefore, it only starts when he comes out of the Beis HaKvaros, and he has to just say, okay, now I'm starting my Naziris that I accepted upon myself before. Okay, let's go back now to the Mishnah. The Gemara asks on Rish Lakish from what it said in the Mishnah. So, what did our Mishnah say? A person accepted upon himself Naziris and is inside the Beis HaKvaros. Even if he was in the Beis HaKvaros for 30 days. It does not count for the days of the Nazirus. And the carbon tumah. When he leaves the Beis HaKvaros and he becomes tired, he doesn't have to bring a carbon tumah for being tameh during his Naziris. So the Gemara says, what does it seem from our Mishnah? Carbon tumah hudulei maisi. The Mishnah is saying that this carbon for becoming tameh during your Naziris, you don't have to bring. Ha mechel chayla alei. But it seems from the Mishnah he is a Nazir. But the chiddush is that because he was tameh from the first moment, he doesn't have to bring a carbon for the tumah that happened. So this is a question of Rish Lakish that says that there's no Naziris that took effect at all. Amalei, Rish Lakish says, it's not how you read the Mishnah. Rather, the Mishnah is saying, Einoi b'teiris tumah. He doesn't have to bring a carbon for the tumah that happened, but also ve'einoi b'teiris carbon. He's not b'teiris carbon of a Nazir at all. In other words, according to Rish Lakish, when the Mishnah says, Ein oilun loy min aminyan, that we don't count these days for his Naziris, that actually means that he's not a Nazir at all. Doesn't only mean that it's not oila for him for proper Naziris of Tara, and he's going to have to count Naziris of Tara again. There's no Naziris at all, and therefore he also doesn't have to bring a carbon. So both opinions of Rish Lakish and Rabbi Yechanan could be read into the Mishnah. Okay, let's see one more question. Eisvei, another question that was asked, Rabbi Yechanan asked, Misha Yatamei. So the Brisa here says very clearly, person that was Tamei. He's not in the Beis HaKvaros, but a similar situation. He's already Tamei, and V'nazar, and he accepts upon himself Naziris while he's Tamei. So the Brisa says, Asr l'galeach, the Naziris takes effect. He's not allowed to cut his hair, v'lishtis yayin, or to drink wine, v'l'tamel l'meisim, to become Tamei to meisim. Right, so that means he has to be mitayed himself as soon as possible. V'im gilach v'shasa yayin v'nitmel l'meisim. If he did cut his hair, or drink wine, or be mitam himself to the mace, harei zeh seifik is arbaim. He gets malchus for this. So it's very clear. You see that the Naziris took effect. So if you say like Rabbi Yechanan that the Naziros did take effect, so that's why he gets malchus if he doesn't keep the Naziros. But Rish Lakish says that the Naziris does not take effect, and when he becomes tahir, only then the whole Naziris begins. Why is this individual getting malchus here? So the Gemara answers, what is this Brisa speaking about when it says that he gets malchus? That this person was tamei. So let's say he was standing in the Beis HaKvaros, like the situation of our Mishnah, and then he came out of the Beis HaKvaros, and he went back in. That's when this person gets malchus. That's what it's speaking about. So what's the chiddush of this Brisa? So in such a case, there's absolutely no chiddush. I mean, it's pashut. He became tar, and then he goes out, and he goes back in. It should be pashut that he gets malchus for this. So the Taisus over here says the chiddush is that even if he didn't say again that I'm going to be a Nazir. Before we said, Rish Lakish says that after he becomes Tameh, he should say again, now I'm accepting upon myself Naziris, because now is when my Naziris begins. Even if he didn't say that, the original acceptance of Naziris before is in effect, and he'll get Malchus for this, even if he doesn't befedish say later that he's taking upon himself the Naziris. That's the Chiddush here.
What if he said